Time now on the Sports Daily to catch up with Matt Welsh to chat all things Moonee Valley there on Saturday. Matt, a very good morning to you.
Good to be with you guys. Fantastic last day of racing at the Valley that we love and know at the moment. It's going to look different in a couple of years' time, but it was a great send-off, I thought, on Saturday.
What did you make of the Cox Plate, Matt?
Look, I don't think it was the strongest Cox Plate in history, and probably a couple of runners didn't really turn up at their best. I think Antino was very disappointing, who was a heavily back second favourite. Aliana didn't have the best of luck for Hugh Bowman, but I think they missed a trick with her, potentially not going to a Caulfield Cup. And we know Treasure the Moments had her issues with a colic setback, but I thought she was mighty brave in running third. But for me, the finish of the race was really the standout feature of it. Via Sistina and Buckaroo, the two Waller runners going to the line, locked together at about the 100-metre mark. I thought Buckaroo was going to nail Via Sistina, but she was tough. And it was a very different win, obviously, to her win 12 months ago, where she was so dominant. She posted a big rating. She smashed the track record. This was workmanlike. And credit to James McDonald. I thought it was an excellent ride. I thought the ride won her the race. Buckaroo was game. I think a little bit of rain just before the race certainly helped his chances, but terrific effort from him and terrific effort from Chris Waller and his team to quinella the race. I think he's now won 6 Cox Plates. Obviously 4 of them were winks, but he's won 6 of them, and J-Mac now 4 in a row. So look, I think the finish probably saved the race. It was a grandstand finish. The crowd roared, and it's what we've become accustomed to in the Cox Plate.
Yeah, another great call from Matt Hill as well. James McDonald, his lofty standards meant he was probably going into Cox Plate a little bit down on form, I guess you could say, but got it right on the right day.
Yeah, he did. He only had 5 rides on Saturday, and I thought he actually put in 5 stunning rides. He rode a really nice horse in race 2, Napoleonic, who I think is now potentially headed to a Coolmore Stud Stakes. That was a dominant win from him in the second. If you want to follow a horse out of that race, I thought Live went quite well in running second, coming off a maiden win. He was aggressive on Stardom, who's a front runner who took out the Crockett Stakes. A couple of luckless runners in there that I definitely put in your black book in Taina Lule and Trey Magnifique. They're both still looking for runs, particularly Taina Lule. And I actually thought James is just about his best ride of the day was his losing ride on Enviable, who ran second in the Phillies Classic. And then he also ran second on Providence before winning the Cox Plate. So this is the time of year where he really brings out his best. He's had a couple of big carnivals the last 2 years. We know he'll be up in Sydney for a Golden Eagle Day this Saturday, but I think the last 3 days of the VRC Spring Carnival, he's certainly got his eye in.
So where do we sit now with Via Sistina, Matt? I think she's now a 10-time Group 1 winner, something like that. Like this is a ridiculously good CV she's been able to compile.
No, she certainly has. She's an outstanding mare, obviously a dual Cox Plate winner. There's been a number of multiple winners of the Cox Plate, but I think she'll retire with an outstanding CV. There's no doubt about that. She's done it in 2 hemispheres, which I think has her extremely valuable. She's a Group 1 winner overseas before she came to Australia. So Yulong have got an incredibly valuable daughter of Fastnet Rock on their hands. And in terms of where she ranks amongst recent champions, I think she's obviously well below your Winxes and Black Caviars and things like that, but she sits really comfortably on that rung below, those really, really good horses who are just below the absolute superstars. So, as I said, I don't think she's been at her best throughout this campaign, but that's what good horses do. When the fight's there to be taken, or the fight's taken up to you, they dig deep and they win, and she showed those fighting qualities on Saturday.
That piece of running rail that you grabbed after the Cox Plate, where'd you put it?
Yeah, no, the Uber driver had a bit of an issue with me opening both windows and having the running rails going out the side as we went across the freeway. That was extraordinary. Amazing scenes seeing the valley looted. I think there were people taking flower pots I saw. And
someone took a
hashtag.
What did you do with a hashtag? What on
I
earth?
don't know. Maybe someone desperately needs that for their living room. But, I didn't wake up with running rail around the kids' trampoline on Sunday morning. But, they were extraordinary scenes there at the Valley.
Absolutely. All right, that's the Cox Plate. Actually, before we leave that being the last race there at Moonee Valley as we know it, Matt, I read a story that you penned during the week, and I think a lot of the sentiment has been how unfortunate it is that we lose Moonee Valley, but you sort of had a different take, and it might be the Valley's best chapter yet.
Yeah, well, look, I've been going to the Valley for a number of decades now. I love the Cox Plate. I love the place, but I'm a racing tragic. And I think, the reality, if you peel back what the Valley actually is, most Friday nights and on some of those run-of-the-mill Saturday meetings, it's a place that's really tricky for punters. It's tricky for jockeys and it's tricky for horses. I touched earlier on a couple of horses that had absolutely no luck in the Crockett Stakes. And that's the reality with the fluky short home straight is you have a lot of messy run races. You have a lot of unlucky horses and a lot of horses that aren't suited to the Valley. And we've seen in recent years that field sizes have really started to drop off on Friday nights with trainers preferring to run at big, spacious tracks like Pakenham. So we're going from a 173-metre home straight to I think it's about a 317-metre home straight with the new Valley. That should create a fairer layout for punters, one where we don't have as many hard luck stories, hopefully one that trainers want to send their horses to. And the facilities at the Valley, they've obviously been let to be run down because they know they're coming to the end of their life, but they're outdated. And to keep up with modern grandstand standards, they really need to be enhanced. And we're going to have a beautiful new grandstand overlooking the city. So, look, it's obviously there's a lot of sentiment around the Valley. It's been a fabulous home of the Cox Plate for so long. But I do genuinely believe that for punters, the new track will be fairer, it'll be better. And I think the new facilities are just going to be world-class. So, it's been a great chapter, but I do genuinely believe the next one could be even better.
Matt, talking of new facilities and modern grandstand, all eyes now to Flemington, and it's still going to be a massive Saturday. No, Champions Day on the final day of the carnival is taking away some of the focus from what we get on opening day, but this Saturday upcoming is still very special.
Oh, it is, absolutely. I mean, it's known as Derby Day. Probably the feature now is the Coolmore Stud Stakes, the 3-year-old sprinters. But I always get excited heading to Derby Day. You've got the three big Group 1 races. You've got the Empire Rose as well. And the team just does such a good job preparing the track in outstanding order. I did notice they've got a stop work happening on Wednesday. Some of the ground staff are taking a 24-hour stop work action due to a dispute over pay, but that won't impact how the track's presented. Liam O'Keefe will do a fantastic job. And, I think we saw probably the Derby winner there on Saturday in Observer. He was outstanding in taking out the Vars. Probably should have won the Guineas as well. The Star Prior was totally unlucky, and he only won by half a length. Mark Zara completely throttled him down over the last 100 metres. He was lucky the race wasn't another 20 metres longer because he probably would have lost, but that would have helped ensure he's got a few tickets in the bank for Saturday's Derby. He's now into $1.75 and clearly the horse to beat. But, it's going to be a fantastic week. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other horses to follow that we can go maybe make some money off going to Flemington from Moonee Valley?
Oh, look, I'm not sure where she's going to go next, but I think Festus, who went around in the McEwen Stakes on Saturday, race 8, won by Jigsaw. She's airborne. She was terrific at Caulfield from an impossible position. She again just got too far back on a track. You couldn't come from the tail and circle them. She hit the line really well under Benny Mellum. So she was completely unlucky in a race down the straight during last year's VRC Spring Carnival. I think she is certainly one that I'd be following. And I touched on those two out of the Crockett. I think both Taina Lule, particularly Taina Lule, and to a lesser extent Trey Magnifique, I think they were both unlucky and absolutely flying wherever they head next.
No, absolutely. Look forward to do it all again next Monday as we build up to Cup Day and we review Derby Day. Matt, thank you very much for your time and have a great week.
No, absolute pleasure, guys. Look forward to chatting next week.
All right, there's Matt Welsh from Betsy.com.